welcome back to The Watch and Acolyte, Star Wars Acolyte, Episode 1. Wow.
Particularly flavour in my mouth.
Yeah. So we were initially intending to do an Episode 1 and 2 review and just get it all, done, and then episode by episode. The thing is, though, Episode 1 was so bad, and I have so many notes to go over, that we need to break it up. And so we're doing individual episodes.
Some Band-Aids are just too painful.
Oh my gosh, this was awful, but we'll go into the specifics, okay? Before we continue, check out this Shadiversity hoodie I am wearing.
Hey, I've got mine at home, and even mine doesn't look that. Actually, mine looks better on me. Yeah, good point.
Check them out, link in the description. Really high quality. They're available for a limited time, guys. Okay, so this was looking to be a dumpster fire from the get-go, okay? But even on the warning signs, I always go in ready to give it any credit that it deserves. And I remember when Obi-Wan came out. Obi-Wan Kenobi, remember that Star Wars show?
Yes.
Did you actually watch that?
I watched that.
You watched it?
I watched it.
So Episode 1 wasn't awful. And I remember, and so we acknowledge, like, if it's got any redeeming qualities, we do it. Like, in retrospect, looking back, it was really bad. But I remember in our review, was thinking, look, it wasn't the worst thing if it got...
What, Obi-Wan?
Episode 1. Then it went off a cliff and became just unbelievably stupid.
I maintain that since Loki, I have said the same thing every single time. Everything that they make will be bad. They'll destroy everything that we love as efficiently as they can. And so far, I have been right.
Well, Episode 1 of Acolyte is unbelievably stupid. Stupid on multiple levels. We got and not only like dumb, nonsensical, breaking logic, common sense, just reality things, right? They even contradict their own plot and statements in the individual episode.
Multiple times.
We'll have examples where they say something and contradict it later on. And it's like, who's writing this slop? Are you paying attention? Do they have different writers who wrote the beginning and someone at the end and they're not paying attention? But even then, if you would have had that, you would have... Is anyone proofreading and just paying attention to the logical consistency?
Yep.
It is so dumb. The plot is absolute garbage. And then on top of that, the characters are really just cringe and nothing redeeming. One is a complete idiot and just thrown away as a goof. The main character is awful, right? And especially... So we're just going to go into... spoilers, bit by bit. This is Disney Star Wars to a T, right? You'd think with how awful Obi-Wan Kenobi was, Boba Fett, and the disastrous way Mandalorian were finished up, right? That they would think, maybe we need some better writers.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if they got new writers for this show, they were different writers,
Get better.
but the quality is completely consistent with Disney Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, such stupid things happen, and we'll give you the examples. And so it opens, and like this already was just like, oh, this is not a good sign. They have an opening text, right? The text that supposed to set the scene. Star Wars usually has the crawl. This doesn't have the crawl. It just has text appear. And the text is completely redundant and pointless.
Yep.
Unneeded. It's like, oh, there's a person hunting Jedi. You know what happens in the first scene, Oz?
Someone kills a Jedi.
Someone is killing and hunting a Jedi. It's almost like we didn't need the text to contextualize this. It is completely useless. And the fact that the creators, writers are just oblivious to even that small, simple reality about don't do redundant dialogue. If you're going to have, like, opening text, do it to set a scene, kind of like the original Star Wars and stuff, right? This was useless. And you might see it's a small thing, but when it opens with that, somehow Palpatine survived, right?
Well, at least they waited till, like, the last third of the movie to say that.
Now, of course, we're referencing Rise of Skywalker there. But the fact is, if it opens with something as bad as that, it's like, that's not a good sign. Okay.
As soon as I saw that, I thought, I have a bad feeling about this show.
I see what you did there. So then it introduces, the dreadlocks, assassin lady is walking
Yeah.
into a bar.
Wait, so the sister's name is Osha. She's the good one, right? Does that mean that like her name, the bad sister, should be like Osha Breach or Osha Non-Compliant? Because occupational safety and health administration. Look, I thought it was funny.
Yeah, you did think it was funny, but people have to know what OSHA means.
It means occupational safety and health administration.
Not your best one there, Oz.
Well, I just believe.
You just believe.
Occupational safety.
Well,
and
look,
health.
you miss every shot you don't take, so that's why I appreciate you.
JFK would not agree with you.
Okay, then.
I don't know.
So she comes in, right? And it feels like bad cosplay. That was my first impression. And then the dialogue is like, I appreciate your courage, young warrior. Jedi do not attack people. And it's just like people cosplaying on the skin suit that we want this to be Star Wars, so we're just going to make generic kind of Star Warsy lines delivered in a wooden way.
Well, not just that, though, but it's like, it's how liberals wish they could communicate. Even when you're being threatened by someone. It's like, imagine if a man came up to you on the street, a person of color, waving a knife in your face saying, give me your wallet. And you're like, I appreciate your courage. However, I'm not going to give you my wallet.
There's a person that's come in wanting to attack me and essentially kill me and is like, I appreciate your courage, young warrior. I can't remember if that was a direct quote, but that was essentially a thing. And then there's like, Jedi do not attack people. I will not attack you. And then I'll force you to attack me by attacking everyone else. And then she starts to girl boss all over the bar, beating everyone up because she's just so tough.
Yeah.
And then, like, think about A New Hope, right?
I don't feel hope anymore.
Well, think about it. Just think about it for a bit. Where Han, he gets mildly threatened, and he's got a gun pointed at him.
He shot first.
Just pew, shoots right back, and he shot first, right? So that these. These rogue type people, especially the ones that might be villains and everything like that, their first thing that they resort to when threatening everything, pull out the gun.
Yep.
Okay? That logic is just non-existent here. It's like she starts beating up everyone, and so you know what they do? They start fist fighting back. Even when one of them has a gun, okay, and it takes him ages to try and pull out the gun, and then when he tries to pull out it, so conveniently gets stuck in the holster. Just enough time for her to girl boss and knock him over again.
How do you manage to do that?
It is so stupid. You would have, if these are like scum and villainy type characters, even just not them, if they're just regular people, right? You see this crazy woman coming in, start bashing everyone up. Your first option, you pull out the freaking gun and just shoot her, right? But no, it's amazingly dumb, okay? And then the fight continues. Granted, there is actually some interesting choreography there. They put some effort into that, but it's undermined by the fact that what's holding it up is just stupid.
Yeah, you got to appreciate this though, Shad. The fight scenes are made by a fight choreographer, usually like a dance person. They're not made by the people writing this crap. So I'd say
they probably had someone competent choreographer.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, what about the gun problem then?
Is that what was written in? What are you going to do as a person,
Well, the answer is that she would have to, they would all pull out guns and she has to do something to disarm the guns right away.
Just, this is the problem that we have with this sort of media.
But she has Jedi powers. They pull out guns, shoot her, she dodges.
Yeah, but Shad, see, you're coming at this on a bad angle because you can't make sense of nonsense that makes no sense at so many levels. It's like trying to correct something that's been built poorly with bad bricks on a bad foundation.
Yeah, you need to start all over and
You
start from the
can't do it.
foundation. Yeah, like there are so many broken things in this show, all right? And as a result, even some effort put into the choreography undermines completely because then they show when she finally starts to fight the Jedi is outmatching her completely. Like not even a sweat, okay? And so this Acolyte assassin lady, by just judging on the power scales and levels, right, no chance to beat her, okay? And she kind of realized that, and then what's so depressing about this, I bet the writers and the director, like this is directed by Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant.
Oh, it literally is her?
Yeah, literally is her. Leslie
I
Headland.
thought it was female Quentin Tarantino.
No, that's this is her, right?
Okay.
Who definitely knew all the abuse that Harvey Weinstein was doing, right?
Probably helped in it too.
It probably assisted it all, and she didn't report or anything like that. She is an abuser,
Acolyte?
enabler. You could call her an acolyte.
Acolyte to Harvey
Acolyte of
Weinstein.
a rapist, basically. Which kind of makes her, very culpable in terms of a lot of the crimes. But anyway, she's a vile person.
Now he's in prison.
Mm-hmm.
So who's the rapist lord now? There's always two.
There's always two. So she directed this, right? So she would be aware, and I bet she thought this was so smart. It's like, all right, the Acolyte can't beat the Jedi. So what she will do, this was their plan, right? She will throw a dagger, she'll pull a dagger, threaten, look at the innocent bar person, the bar alien man, and then throw the dagger, attempting to murder this innocent person, right?
Alien, yeah.
Alien, force this unbeatable, really talented Jedi to get distracted by stopping the dagger with her force powers, which leaves her open to a dagger getting thrown at her.
You can give it the barest flick with the force and just fly aside.
Not only that, like they pause, right? But this is what was hilarious. They thought that was so smart, and it is retarded.
Yeah.
It is so stupid because they pause. The Jedi sees her look at the bartender, and she knows, oh, you're about to throw a dagger at an innocent person. And instead of just doing anything to stop it, she waits to at the throw, and she knows that the plan, she's got a dagger in the other hand, she's going to throw the other one at me. You can do double force pushing thing. You don't have to just put your guard down.
Yeah.
And they think that is the only option. Oh, I can only stop this dagger with the force and leave myself completely open. That's not how the force works.
And then immediately before that, she managed to pull out her lightsaber and cut two blades out of the air mid-flight.
Yes.
Like it was nothing from 10 feet away.
It was so stupid. And so she basically lets herself get killed. And they already show in the fight scene that she is really tough, force sensitive, completely outmatches this acolyte wannabe assassin person, right? And then dies in one of the most stupid, you have the force, just knock everything aside, knock both, you get your lightsaber. There were so many ways for her to survive. What, she can't force and dodge? And she saw that was the plan of this acolyte assassin, that I'm going to try and attack it. It was stupid. But I bet the director and writers thought, this is so clever. Aren't we great? Aren't we? Look at the way that she figures out a way to win. That's the competence that we're dealing with in this show. And this is the first scene!
That thing you brought up where it cuts to her looking at the person she's going to throw the knife at, and then back to the. You could make one of those Bollywood one of those things where they cut back and all over. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. But in a world where you can easily replace entire limbs, surely cutting a woman's arm off who's trying to kill you is not that bad.
Not that bad. She could have defeated this acolyte idiot at any moment. She was in complete control, and it takes her ages to pull out the lightsaber. And then we get a very interesting line. When this line dropped, it was like, okay, the people... As if this wasn't already known from all the people making statements about the release of the Acolyte. So we saw actors saying that, Star Wars isn't, there's no real good and evil in Star Wars, and that Star Wars is very patriarchal, male-focused, and that Anakin destroyed the Death Star. That's the level of understanding of the people who are involved in this project. And so shouldn't shock you that they do not understand this property at all. But here's a line that just... Again, confirms it all when the Jedi pulls out a lightsaber. The Acolyte's lady says, a Jedi doesn't pull a weapon unless prepared to kill.
That's not true.
That's not true. That's retarded. That's not Star Wars lore or anything like that. And it's contradicted by this episode. Because later on in the episode, guess what? A Jedi pulls out a lightsaber just to get some light. It's a bit dark. He needs a glow stick. And he pulls it out and it's... This stupid, retarded show. They contradict themselves.
And that's the least of things for that scene alone.
Yeah, and that's just a small example, right, of they're not even aware of what they're doing. The left hand is talking to the right hand, right? They contradict, and that's one example. There's another example, big one, where they contradict something that they establish in the show or say something by what happens later on. And it's the actual conclusion of the episode where the Acolyte is meeting her master, and he says something completely retarded that is contradicted by what happens right now. Because then she ends up killing a Jedi, and then the line is later that you can't kill a Jedi with steel or laser, when she literally just here kills a Jedi with a dagger.
Yeah.
And by the way, the dagger, right? This thing is more lethal than a lightsaber. Yeah. We've seen lightsabers go through people in the stomach and they survive, but a little dagger right there, complete death. I mean, like, it looked a bit too high for the heart, honestly, where it landed. But the only way it could possibly kill if it got right to the heart, but it was a little dagger. I'm not sure it got the depth penetration for it. The only way it could kill like that quickly, unless it was directly at the heart, completely like perfect shot, or Venom or something like that. But it was very unconvincing, especially in Disney Star Wars, where we have people surviving lightsabers being run through their middle, and then a little dagger kills a trained Jedi now.
Yeah. Darth Maul was cut in half and thrown down a very deep hole.
And somehow he survived. You know who else survived? Survived? Palpatine!
Somehow Palpatine returned.
It is so stupid. And there was just like another weird line showing that they don't really understand. So as she's fighting it, the Jedi lady says, I've got an unidentified Force user here. And I'm like, hang on, is that a crime? Just using and would that be the most pertinent point to report? Maybe it's that someone is trying to kill me. Maybe you would report that. But the crime that she wanted to report is that this is a Force user.
Caught another inconsistency. Yeah. Contradiction, actually. She reported, presumably to other Jedi, or someone listening that would say, the victim said this before dying, have an unidentified Force user. However, there was the link between the dead woman, the dead Jedi, and the one who was suspected of it and caught by the thing. Remember? The male Jedi Knight was like, she was against you becoming a Jedi in the first place. Yet she still trained under her at the temple, not under her directly, but at the temple with her. She would know who she is. She'd say...
Possibly. You'd think the Force could tell her that that's not really her or...
Well, like, she'd know if she could be like, no, I don't want this girl to become a Jedi. And then this girl becomes a Jedi and trains there for 8 years, right? She would know what this girl looks like.
Well, they're twins, yeah, but she does recognize her when she pulls down the mask. It's like, you.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, maybe but still, retarded.
I mean, so much of this scene is so dumb, right? And then the fact that she dies by, the most pathetic way when there were so many ways to survive, right? Is and that's the first scene. I feel
like a tampon would have drawn more blood.
Okay. And then, right? She goes, I don't know, she's picking up a dagger or something like that, and the bartender's there, and she's like, I'm going to kill you. But then she sees the little, child.
Oh, something redeemable about it. Oh.
It's like, I'm not going to kill you now. And I was like, hang on, what? You already tried to kill him.
Yeah.
You literally tried. If the Jedi didn't stop that dagger, that guy was dead. Because those daggers are super lethal. I mean, it's like, if all they need to go is that far, they can kill someone.
She's not a high collateral belligerent murderer. She's a high collateral belligerent murderer with a heart of gold.
I know. And so when that happened, I was like, hang on. Is this show honestly trying to get me to sympathize with someone who legitimately just tried to murder someone in cold blood? And now, she's not so bad because now she's choosing not to murder him, even though she literally did just a couple of moments before.
I don't know if they want you to sympathize, but I know they want you to be a simp.
Possibly. But this is just like, it felt like another one of those times where they're trying to get you to sympathize and like the villain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the opening scene.
It's funny, right?
Completely atrocious.
Anakin Skywalker deserved more sympathy than this character, and Anakin Skywalker actually killed all the children. And he's still a far more interesting, likable character. He literally killed all of the children.
New scene. And so we're introduced now. The show is trying to get you to think that this is the same character because, oh, look, it's the same actress and everything, right? But it is revealed later in the episode she has a twin, and the twin is probably the evil one.
Same actress.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Look,
I don't think they got actually twins to play the role.
No, but I thought they might have just got similar looking different actresses. Because they did for when they were kids.
I don't know. Anyway, so introduced her, and she's like a mechanic on a ship, and they are desperate to make you like this character. She's so nice and quirky, and she's going to be talking to a droid. And the context of the episode is that at this point, you think it's the same character, right? Yeah. And you're trying to show this character as being quirky now, and it's like, hang on, you just showed this character try and murder someone, and you're not giving the context that it's a different person at this point. And so there's no way in hell at this point in the show that I'm going to like her at all. And then she just gets worse by the fact that there's a couple lines where, they're working for evil capitalists. We know this because they're willing to sacrifice the lives of people for their profit and their cargo. Where he says, grease grubbers are disposable, but not our cargo.
To be fair, if I had to deal with that woman working on my spaceship, I would space her too.
Well, then she says, I'm not disposable, but this guy is. Yeah, get rid of him. And it's like, haha, it's a joke. But it's like, hang on, you already showed that without revealing it's a different character, willing to kill someone else, and then she's just joking about her friend dying and everything. Like, you're not helping me like this character.
Yeah.
Okay.
He might be disposable, but you're the bigger bitch so far, so...
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
He can stay.
A overload happens, and a fire breaks out on the outside of a ship in space. And I am a little confused about this, because I was like, okay, it is possible to get like flames in space if the fuel is internal, right, and it's bursting out. It didn't really look like that.
It looked like a campfire.
It looked like a campfire, that it was actually just burning out of the air that it was grabbing from the atmosphere in space, where there's no air.
You've had more intense infernos on your property.
Yeah, and it's just like, all right, small thing, but still, it just makes you,
The whole thing, it just looked bad. Everything looked bad and old and awful.
So then a ship flies in, and she's like, oh, Jedi. I don't know how she knows they're Jedi from the outside. Is it a recognizable Jedi ship? I don't know.
I thought it was the trade people who said Jedi.
I thought she recognized it.
I don't know.
But the Jedi arrive, right? And they're questioning her. She knows the Jedi guy. They were supposedly friends. He's cagey because she reaches for a, robot thing, and his reaches for his lightsaber because she could be a threat now, and she's wondering what's going on. And it's revealed that they think she is the person who killed the Jedi. They're hunting for the person who killed the Jedi, and the description matches her, and they have her records because she used to be a Padawan trainer at the Jedi Temple. Okay. She said, they ask where she was, and she says, I was here last night. And I think it was specifically last night. They had a specific time, and it was only last night. And it's like, okay, that seems like a solid enough alibi. Could you not corroborate it? Like, wouldn't there be multiple witnesses saying, yeah, she was on the ship? Was there record of any car, transport leaving the ship or approaching the ship to pick her up? Like, it would be pretty easy to establish that alibi.
Yeah, you got droids everywhere. Ask them.
I'm sure there are cameras on the ship.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, because they have a single witness that they bring in, which is the bartender guy. The bartender's like, yeah, that's the lady that tried to kill me.
Why are they bringing the bartender along?
He's the witness. Maybe it is odd that they dragged him all the way there. Maybe they could just have the hologram thing of him describing her or something like that. Maybe a recording of the attack revealing who the face was. But this is the thing, right? If she knows that she wasn't the one in the attack, okay, she didn't attack, she was there the whole night, right?
Yeah.
And the Jedi come and says, we have a witness identifying you exactly. And she knows that she does have a long-lost twin that she thinks is dead, but now she's in a position that someone has seen someone that looks exactly like me, but I know it wasn't me. Maybe that would have been a clue then, that maybe your twin isn't dead.
It might just be the Liberals' classic racial profiling thing.
Possibly.
A black woman attacked me. Who's the only black woman we know in the galaxy?
It's just, here is where we start to reach a point where the characters abandon logic and reason. they start acting like
Just now?
complete idiots. Well, there was already signs before.
The writers abandoned it when they started the show.
I know, but and then they give it to their characters because what they want is something to happen in the plot. And in the plot, they want her to be arrested because that's where the story is going. And so they don't have the talent. Like, this is a common failing that I bring up so many times in these reviews because it comes up time and time again, where something astoundingly dumb happens where any reasonable person in the same position would easily think of XYZ in response, right? But that might, affect the plot, or they just can't think of a way to still drive the plot in that direction while having people act logical and rational by bringing up these. Because if they bring up those objections, that would stop her getting arrested. There are ways to answer that in reverse, right? But it seems like the writers just don't have the intelligence to figure that out. Rings of Power was full of these elements. Watch our Rings of Power reviews for season 1, right? Where something completely nonsensical happens, but it was purely there because that's where they wanted the story to go.
Yeah.
Okay? Perfect example here. In fact, this happens multiple times where something unbelievably stupid happens and you're thinking, are the people writing this even thinking? And there are so reasons because that's the story that they're wanting to push it towards.
It's gone to the point I literally think they're doing this on purpose too. Like they want, this doesn't make any sense. Good. I literally believe that. There's no other explanation.
Astounding incompetence is the explanation. I wouldn't put it past them.
Can someone be so detached from reality? Like, how can you be so detached from reality to not know that makes no sense?
Because they're not looking at their story logically. They're just looking at it as a series of things that need to happen, and they don't care about connecting the through line. And I do see how it can happen, because I remember when I was just starting out to write, writing things, and I was focusing on the story, and this is when I was first starting out, okay? And I remember going back to one of my stories, it's like, there's a big plot hole at the beginning. That doesn't make sense. And I was oblivious at the time because I was more inexperienced as a writer. And only after, when I got more experience, it's like, you need to pay attention to the details. I was like, that's an issue. But I was able to fix it. You just think about ways to solve it, right? But absolutely, I've seen, and I have experience that's happened to me, where more inexperienced writers, they're just not paying attention to logic. They just focus, this is where the story needs to go. And they're thinking, well, she says that she was there all night, but they have a witness, and that's enough. And they need her to be arrested, so they're going to arrest her, and they're not going to play out logically what someone would actually think, especially the information she has. She knows she has a long-lost twin. Just put 1 and 2 together, but they're not thinking about it.
But I have more faith in hope for humanity if they're doing it on purpose. Honestly, there's more hope.
Then they say the evidence against her is strong. They have one witness. Do they have video footage? No, it's just this one. That's her. It's like, witnesses can be unreliable times. They might misremember things and stuff like that. But the only evidence they bring forward is this single witness. And again, she doesn't bring up any very logical, likely things that would corroborate her alibi of being on the ship. It's like, video cameras, transfer. Did she... What about timeline? It said it happened last night. Was the attack in range of where the ship was at the time, if you could travel there at hyperspace? I know we're at a point in Star Wars, in Disney Star Wars, where hyperspace is just instant teleportation, like we got to see the hyperspace skipping whatever bullcrap we saw in The Last Jedi, where they're like hyperspacing between planetary systems in a couple of seconds, which is so astronomically stupid, where before it would take some time to get from point A to point B going hyperspace. So they've just thrown out the logic of hyperspace, and by the way, that's confirmed later on as well, where hyperspace is just instant teleportation, it seems like, because the timeline events don't make sense at all, and it's another sign right here. They're not paying attention to location, distance to get to location, everything like that, because was the planet where the attack happened even in range of where the ship is to be able to get there and back in the space of one night to the next day?
And then to coordinate everything required. Exactly.
And then for the report to happen, for them to the Jedi to leave Coruscant and find the ship, and they are not even paying attention to the order of events and the flow of time in this, especially a really big point later on. Again, it's a sign of astronomically incompetent writers.
What's more likely? That someone can be consistently, like you say, astronomically incompetent. Astronomically, which means big odds, right?
No, if they actually are that incompetent, the only results is for them to be consistently incompetent because they're incompetent.
Okay, that is a fair point. However, even a broken clock is right twice a day. There was not a single point in this they were right.
We will continue and go through. So, all right. It just cuts to the Jedi Temple, and there's a line where it's like, if the truth gets out, our political enemies would use it. They don't say truth, but if they say if it gets out that one of our former, Jedi attacked another Jedi.
The truth.
Which means just if the truth gets out. So the Jedi, trying to suppress the truth.
Yeah, that's literally the most liberal thing in the world.
Like, they're such upstanding, noble, honest, individuals, these Jedis.
The whole point of the Jedi in the first place was that they were, like, their virtues became their weakness. But they don't have any virtue at all. In fact, they're all bumbling idiots.
So next scene, she is now on a prison transport. And I was thrown by this. It's like, hang on. You literally showed a Jedi and his Padawan arresting her.
Mm.
So the assumption is that he is now escorting her to Coruscant. Because in his mind, right, his understanding, she is possibly a dangerous Jedi assassin.
Mm.
Super competent, Force sensitive, capable of using the Force.
Able to kill a Jedi Master.
Able to kill a Jedi friggin' Master. And so you would think, very dangerous person, I better escort them. No. She is just thrown on a random dinky, not only transport ship, a droid-controlled transport ship, that's done on purpose because they need something. They need a way for her to escape the cell.
Yes.
Okay? And instead of her, or the guys, whatever, because she doesn't escape, but she does. But instead of the prisoners figuring out something actually smart, they just like, all right, we'll just have a cyborg hack the droids. What if they had a human operator? Oh, no, we'll just remove those humans operating on this ship. Very conveniently, only have droids, so no redundancies exist if the droids get compromised. Something logical. No, they will throw logic into the wind, the wood chipper, just destroy it, to force what they want to have in the plot because they don't have the competence to make the plot move in the direction they want in a logical, consistent way.
And then there's the man with the parasitic brain rape entity on his face.
Yes.
Just think about the logistics of how that situation went down. Do you reckon they put him in there with it on him?
I don't know. But, and they said it's doing weird things to his brain, and the guy is there like making noises of sexual pleasure and
horror at the same time.
And horror is like, that is messed up.
This really was written by the Acolyte of bloody Harvey Weinstein.
I mean, that wasn't from her influence, that edition right there. Let's put like an alien parasite that basically mouth rapes people, right?
That's basically who Harvey Weinstein was.
That seems like it's her experience, right? Oh my gosh. So, logic, again, thrown out the window, and they escape not through anything creative. It was set up for that to happen. Deus Ex Machina is like, they hack the robots and will only make robots because that's how they get free. And again, the Jedi isn't transporting them because if the Jedi are there, they would stop it. They want some way for her to break free, which would then cause her former, teacher, everything to come find her. And they couldn't think of any logical way for that to happen. Something also, remember when we said they contradict things in the episode? She says a line here. It's like, the guys, the prisoners approach her, like, you want to get free, don't you? And she's like, no.
Oh, yeah.
I trust the Jedi.
I trust the Jedi.
Remember that line. Remember, she trusts the Jedi. She trusts the Jedi. We're going to put a pin in that and come back to it, okay? And so it's the other prisoners that break free really easily. It's like, hang on, you have a cyborg, right? Did no one check him for any security risk that he's got cybernetic components? We're taking your guns, but these cybernetic components that possibly could hack the droids, everything, we're not going to check that. We're just, you're fine. Throw you in.
Put the brain rape thing on him.
Exactly. Nonsense. No one is thinking about this. And what's annoying is all you need to do is apply the most basic logic of the most comparable thing from the real world. What do you do with prisoners when you're putting them in prison? You search them for any possible risks and everything, not just weapons, but do they have any tools to help them escape and stuff like that? It doesn't take too much thought to actually look at how we approach things in the real world in a logical way to achieve it. But they're not thinking about that. They don't want a story that feels immersive and realistic. By the way, the reason why all these things are important, and there's multiple points of astronomical stupidity where the characters and events in this story just break from when I say reality, I know it's fantasy, but the reality of what intelligent, normal, or even just regular people would do, right? The reason why this is important is that if the characters are not acting like people, like they're real humans, and even aliens, they're acting like they're intelligent beings right now, they don't feel real. And if characters don't feel real in a story, you don't care about what happens to them. You're not invested in the story. You don't give a crap. For a story to really suck you in, you want the characters to feel real. And part of making the characters feel real is make them act like real people, not abandon logic. And especially in the world, right? Don't have like the process is just abandon common sense. That Jedi who arrested her, why isn't he with her, guarding her?
I can tell you why.
He even says it later on that he made a mistake. I should have escorted her, and he gets a pat on the shoulder. No, it's like, yeah, you should have been escorting her. He escaped because you weren't there, you freaking retard. She is actually an possible assassin, and she got free because you weren't there. That's a fireable offense, but he's a pat on the shoulder, everything like that. Just because you... And what's worse? It seems like the writers were aware of it, but they were so incompetent that they're not going to try and fix it. They'll just say, because we pointed out, that makes... No, it doesn't make it better. It makes it worse. It means you were aware of it and you didn't try and fix it because they couldn't think of a logical way to fix it and push the plot in the direction that they want.
What is that, though? Like, why does it have to be this way?
Because of complete incompetence. Bad writing, right?
I'm at the point where I'm not going to attribute incompetence where malice can be applied. Especially when it is literally, Shad, all the time.
Well, I'm not there.
Every time.
I'm not there yet, but I can't stop you from attributing what you want, but I still think this is just complete incompetence on display. And, okay, so this whole breakout scene on the prison ship was set up through stupidity because the Jedi wasn't there guarding her. It was Deus Ex Machina achieved, right? And then so many just conveniences happen because now she needs to break free because she's still in the cell. Is she going to think of something clever or anything like that to break free? Or is the universe going to warp and twist on its axis, basically,
That's
for
exactly
God in the machine to provide her a way to escape, which is basically what happens. The ship... They hack the ship for it to come out of hyperspace. And assumedly, that is so they can use the escape pods because the escape pods can't go out in hyperspace. And it comes out in an asteroid belt thing. Rocks everywhere. The likelihood of you just randomly running into an asteroid belt in not only just the middle of space, even in a planetary system, right? Like, it's unbelievable how unlikely that is. If you were to pick any random point in our solar system, okay, the likelihood that that random point would end up falling just perfectly within our own asteroid belt that we have in our system is, could someone... we're talking about 0.000 crazy amounts because guess what? The solar system is still huge. Compare the size of a ship, compare to the size of the solar system, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But Shad, if they're not even aware that, you know, to go from one side of the galaxy to the other to corroborate, to find a murder suspect, like Shad, this is my whole point. Like, every ingredient in this dish is crap, and you can't pick one thing. Okay, we can change the crust, which has crap in it, and then how do we fix the gooey center, which is made of crap? Like, the whole thing
is crap.
It makes no sense.
Exactly. And it's layer upon layer of crap. And here's another big one. The fact that they come out of hyperspace conveniently in an asteroid field, right? The reason why they wanted this to happen, they couldn't think of a logical way for her to break free of her cell. So they wanted to somehow get her to have her, like, tricorder droid device thing. And the way that they get that to her is that the ship runs into one of the asteroids, knocks it, either disabling a hyperspace or something like that, right? Which knocks her droid device thing out of a storage container that was just on the other side of the hall from where her cell is. Not locked up, just a simple knock. Breaks it free, things get thrown out on the floor, and conveniently her droid device is there, and she has trouble reaching it, she gets it somehow, and then she uses it to break free. It's like, hang on, contraband from this wasn't locked in a more secure cell. It just a simple knock broke it free, and it was conveniently that thing, and it was conveniently only happened because they exited hyperspace in an asteroid field. Like, we're upon layers of convenience here, all to achieve her breaking out of her cell because they couldn't think of a logical way for her to figure it out on her own. They needed to give her the answer.
It's still a least offensive, least illogical, least ridiculous part of the entire show.
But it's still ridiculous, though, and we're going to call it out because the incompetence and bad writing in this is just so thick.
Yeah.
Okay? And so then she's, like, about to try and break free. There's one other escape pod, only two, because, you know, they want a way for her to get stuck on the ship, and so we'll only do 2 escape pods. You know, if you have, like, a certain amount of crew complement... Anyway, only 2, right? And so she's about to break free, but then she sees the guy getting mouth raped. And look, this was one of the few things I liked about her. She decides to save him. It's
yes.
Like, okay, that is a positive character trait that I could accept.
However,
I'm glad that she tried that.
Where was the creator of the show when Jennifer Lawrence was getting mouth raped?
You know, it's a good question.
She didn't put a stop to that,
Yeah,
did she?
yeah. Is this like her trying to reflect what she wished she did, you know, saving someone getting abused like that? But anyway, he was a violent criminal. She zaps off the mouth rape alien thing, and he just like screams, pushes her aside, goes straight to the escape pod, and she doesn't get there in time, and she's stuck on the ship. You know,
and then she doesn't attempt to pilot it. She just straps herself in as it falls towards a planet.
Yes. I was like, because then, by the way, they came out of hyperspace near an asteroid belt, and then they're falling into the gravity well of a planet. It's like, okay, so maybe it was the rings of a planet, because when you go into those rings close, they have, like, you know, they're basically asteroids and stuff, right? But they don't explain that. Now they're just near a planet, and they're falling towards the planet. And yeah, she doesn't. Well, I think she tries to pilot, but then fire. But she doesn't really try very much.
She literally didn't. Like, the cockpit was there. She could move around. She walked up to the seats behind the cockpit
and just straps herself in. And I was starting to again to be like, what's going on? This is a spaceship, no wings. It's basically in an atmosphere. It's a brick. It's not going to be flying. Okay. We don't know that the shields are working or anything like that. And so the chances of surviving this crash are like a trillion to one, not even like it's nearly non-existent. This is a crashing spaceship that does not have any control, no aerodynamics, and the speed that will be coming in, it's just crazy. But but it just gently glides in and just hits the snow, and it's only roughed up a little bit. You know, it's disabled, but it should have been turned into rubble. It should have made a crater that vaporized everything.
Yeah, so you notice how if you, like, throw a rock as hard as you can, it'll still, for the most part, like, generally curve down, hit the ground, right?
Yes.
Really hard.
Yeah, like, and then it curves down, and then, especially there's no, because for you to maintain, like, an angle of approach
You
like
need a
that,
vector of thrust.
well, no, you don't need thrust. You need aerodynamics. You need wings that providing some level of lift. That's instead of getting pushed down, it gets pushed back, and it's on that angle. But there's no wings on this. It's a rock. You're right. It should be gone straight
down, like you were dropping a rock from just bang. Because that's essentially what is happening in space.
And so, like, layers upon layers of just retarded stupidity is happening in this show, just again and again. And sometimes, like, I can ignore a couple. It annoys me because it still pulls you out of the show. But if there are other things that are sucking you in, really entertaining dialogue, dynamic characters, great action, everything like that, my tolerance to ignore crap is actually rather high if it's a good show. If there's nothing, well, for one, it does reach a limit. When the crap gets too much, it's like, this is ruining everything. Nothing is making sense, okay? And so even if there was something redeemable in this show, the amount of stupidity would still ruin it, okay? And so it doesn't redeem it at all. But even in a good show, sometimes some of these stupid things you can ignore. Not this, because there's not even anything redeeming to keep you in, and you're just left with you can't do anything but notice all the crap and stupidity that's happening. And so the ship is coming in thinking, that's not how that would work. She should be dead. All right, next scene. The Jedi they found out that, oh no, the prisoner transport has been, crashed, okay? And okay, I could get if they have like, communication devices that travel faster than light, and they might have a tracking device, and it's like, oh, the ship just crashed, right? And they get the report. No. They have the prisoners that escaped that ship now in custody on Coruscant.
Yes.
And I was like, what? Okay, so several days have passed? Like, how long does it take to get from... But hey, then I was like, no, wait. Escape pods don't usually have hyperdrive. So how did the prisoners get to Coruscant?
Have you heard of 15-minute cities, the Liberals' idea? This is a 15-minute galaxy.
15-minute galaxy. Yeah. And they actually imply that they've already had people survey the crash site where they said, our reconnaissance droids, everything, haven't found the ship or something like that, right? And I was like, hang on. So you had enough time to leave Coruscant, get to the crash site, pick up the prisoners in their escape pods, take them back to Coruscant, and I'm expecting... Well, at least a couple of days should have to pass. Am I all right?
At the very
least.
At least.
Yet, main character, whatever girl, she wakes up after the scene implying that this is like right after the crash.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Well, actually, I believe she woke up within minutes of them arriving at the crash site, within minutes.
She was unconscious for several days. By the way, the fact that she is even alive beggars belief, right?
Sub-zero temperatures, open to the environment.
That's what I was going to say next. The ship crashed in this frozen wasteland, and it has open, like the hull is breached, okay? Completely open. And so, completely open to the elements. So if she was there for a couple of days, she would have frozen to death. She wakes up, not even dirty, no icicles or anything. She's in perfect condition, and it's like she hasn't been exposed to the elements at all, implying that this is like barely a couple of hours after the crash. Yet the prisoners are on Coruscant. And not only that, it gets worse, right? Her waking up is actually a dream sequence, all right? Her actual waking up happens a bit later, right at the time when the Jedis that was sent from Coruscant... So someone left Coruscant, went to the crash site, picked up the prisoners, returned to Coruscant, Jedi sent to go search for her, back to the crash site, and as that Jedi is reaching the crash site, that's when she wakes up.
That's a three-way...
3 trips between the crash site and Coruscant, and it's like it happened in a couple of hours. Remember how we said that they are not paying attention to the flow of time, but how long it should take from one point to another? This is the big one where it's like, the flow of just the logistics, or geography, location, they do not give a crap. They do not give a crap about any type of realism, logical consistency, anything. The writers are incompetent on this. They should not have been working on a show like this at all. They need to go back to school, because this is beyond stupid.
I wouldn't trust these people to make me a sandwich.
Well, like, was this written by Leslie Headland? I wouldn't put it past her, right?
Give me dough and salad seeds and a piglet, still alive.
There's a couple of lines, right, where when they're talking about, we need to send someone someone says it's highly unlikely she survived.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it is.
yes, it's not only is it not highly unlikely, it's basically impossible she would have survived. And the fact that she survived without a scratch. And by the way, she doesn't wake up strapped into her chair. She wakes up on the ground, which means there was enough force to knock her out of the chair, okay, on impact. And she would... the fact that the ship even survived the landing is beyond stupid. Okay, the ship survived. Enough force to knock her out of there. She's a pancake. Her bones would be crushed to dust, okay?
And then frozen.
To death. Like, she has survived layers of incredulity that is just breaking logic. And I'm watching this. This is all nonsense. This is just retarded nonsense. This is retarded nonsense, the show. That's what Star Wars has become. Okay? So she didn't freeze to death. And then, okay, they recruit their former master, and he is going to go and save her. And he grabs whatever, another Padawan, right? And they go onto the ship, and they have this weird scene, completely pointless, no relevance to the plot. It might be, it's to establish character. This is the topless scene.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, no, that was still on Coruscant when that happened, I believe.
I know, this is still on Coruscant
okay,
when they're about to leave, right? They walk in on the friend who arrested her but didn't escort her back to Coruscant, while he is cleaning his clothes in the middle of a common area on a ship where he knows that people are going to arrive to leave on a mission. It was retarded. But the reason why they did it is that they wanted a topless scene with him. They couldn't think of a logical way to do it, so they'll just make him do something really stupid. He's cleaning clothes, and we'll make it near the entry part of the ship, and they walk in on him without a top. And it's like, okay, it's very clear why you did this. It's because it's okay to objectify men, but sexist to objectify women now. And so they're going to go out of and literally, they go out of their way to force this scene in, right? And back in the day, the feminist narrative was, it's bad to objectify women. You shouldn't do it. But this is the feminist narrative. This is where you see the politicization of stuff like that, where you reveal it's actually not about equality. They don't want equal treatment. It's about mistreating men in the way that they perceive women have been mistreated. And they went out of their way to force a scene to objectify a guy. I don't care. Okay, that there's a topless scene, apart from how pointless and stupid it is for the plot. It doesn't establish character, or because sometimes there was there's a bit of sexual tension between these two characters, and one of the characters accidentally walks in on the other in a compromising but somewhat, provocative scene, something like that. It builds the sexual tension even more, right? And so there can actually be plot relevance for a scene like this. There's nothing here for that. This is just, we're going to force it in. And like I said, I wouldn't even care about that, because there are as equally pointless, topless scenes in multiple... There's this weird one in Demolition Man, where he is
Did you watch that recently?
No, but I remember where they have video calls, and a lady's like, oh, sorry, wrong number, and she's, topless.
I think that was to demonstrate, to highlight the point that he had just had weird virtual sex with Sandra Bullock.
I thought that was before that.
This was immediately after. I watched it the other day.
Oh, did you?
Literally the next scene.
Okay, but the thing is, it's happened in other movies as well. Don't care. What I care about is their own consistency in their arguments. I care about hypocrisy. And they have been calling that out, stuff like that out, for being misogynistic, sexist, objectification. And then we have this in a Star Wars kids show, right? Where they are going out of their way to objectify the male character, specifically have a topless scene with him, right? And it's like, let's see. Do they believe in equality? Do you reckon there's going to be a scene like that for any female character?
They don't.
Not that I care or want. But again, I did find this distracting for it was so stupid. I could even give maybe a little bit more credit for how pointless it was in Demolition Man, because it's in a new world and it's not used to video calls, and it builds up their fish out of water kind of this future is crazy kind of thing, right? So you can almost try and justify it. Not going fully there, but there are things that there's nothing. What does this establish in characterization or plot, world building, anything? What it actually shows, this guy is an idiot. Where does he choose to clean his clothes? I know, in the common room on a ship they're about to leave on a mission. It actually makes his character look more like a moron and make him more unlikable. But they force it in just before, we're going to objectify the male characters because now we can get away with it.
And it seemed like he was cleaning his clothes with a toaster.
Yeah, well, it was spraying it looked like steam. It was like some type of steam cleaning thing.
I'm pretty sure I know a toaster when I see one.
Okay. And then, right, he's all embarrassed, and he acknowledges that he is like, I'm sorry, I have shamed myself. I should have escorted the prisoner in. It's like, yes, you should have. That doesn't excuse you. It was retarded beyond belief, and you pointing it out just makes it look worse. Okay, you should be fired. It was that bad of a stuff up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you can't fire the diversity hire. I mean, that's why.
But anyway, then they try and force a joke in where the female Padawan just comes she's like, get your clothes on. And he's like, oh, yes, I will. And it just makes him look like a bumbling idiot.
But that's not a joke.
It's not a joke, I know, but it's
something to say.
And this female Padawan or anything, the impression, maybe I'll be wrong, but my impression of this character is like, she's going to be the Karen of the show lecturing the male characters.
Yeah.
She's already kind of pointed out certain like, oh, why are you having attachment to, because when she was introduced to the former mentors, like, you shouldn't have attachment to this person.
Well, you're right and you're wrong. Every woman is going to be the Karen that explains something to the man.
Possibly they're all going to be lecturing them.
Every single
like
one.
This is made by activists, okay? And there are blatant signs of that activism, especially with the scene we're talking about now, right? Also, just by the balance of male and female characters. Again, I don't actually care. I'm holding them to their own standards. All right, if you want equality, okay, why are there 2-to-1 female Jedis to male Jedis? Out of the, if you look at the Padawans and the Jedis, everything like that, there is double the amount of women Jedis versus male Jedis. Because they don't care about equality. They care about power and supremacy.
They say that in the show. Remember in the trailers? This isn't about good or bad. This is about power. That was in the trailer.
You're right. That was in the trailer.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a mask off. Like, it's made by activists that fully are on board with this type of stuff. And you see signs of it all throughout it. And the incompetence is just another manifestation because they're not putting like quality of writing first. They're thinking about, I'm going to put in so much representation about this. There's even a comment somewhere on the internet of them saying this is the gayest Star Wars they've ever made this to this point.
They were right. This is the gayest Star Wars that has ever been made.
Like there's been clearly like no character has said that they are gay, but I tell you what, if I was asked about certain leanings of the characters, you would assume that they swing the other way, let's just say. A lot of them would.
Somewhere on the internet, there is a gay porn version of Star Wars, probably called Star Balls. And it is still probably better written.
I would not know.
And less gay than this. I don't know either, but I'm willing to find it and review it because it's going to be less painful and less mind.
And if anyone thinks like I am like, making false assumptions, they're saying that this is the gayest Star Wars ever made. And so I have a feeling that certain characters will be coming out of the closet in later episodes, right? And it's not because for characterization, for whatever I add, it's just for the activism and pushing it into everything, okay? Yeah. And it's so interesting. So yeah, like going back to that Padawan girl, she nothing really likable about her, and she is already like get your clothes on. She's there, making the guy look like an idiot. Okay, so back to when she wakes up, right? And she wakes like there's no icicles. The weather hasn't even touched her. She's like in a warm environment, even though she's supposed to be exposed to the elements.
Yeah, sub-zero. Blizzard temperatures.
So this is where it's revealed that the assassin lady, it was actually her long-lost twin.
Yeah.
They haven't seen each other for many, many years.
How convenient all this is. It's just
so
instantly.
If they haven't seen each other for many years, Oz, what is the likelihood that they would have the exact same haircut? Like, exact. I would say very unlikely.
Yeah, but everything in this show is unlikely, so comparatively it's pretty...
Oh, no, this was actually a cultural haircut that they have from their family, and because they had it as kids, they just keep their haircut throughout the entire lives, because when people, they just keep the same haircut throughout their entire lives, Oz.
When you're standing in a field of a little bit of bullshit on the side is...
But still, like, that was stood out because... It was forced in so they could mistake the sister for the one being. That's why they have it the same haircut.
Forced in, I see what you did there.
They did force it in, right? When in reality, it was like they would actually look somewhat different having been separated for so many years.
You know who else forced it in? Harvey Weinstein.
He did indeed. I'll give you that one. And so they can't think of the logical way because they want the character to be mistaken for the assassin, so they have to make him look the same, even though it doesn't make sense that they'll look the same after many years different.
I feel like that's a bit racist too.
Possibly.
Just because they're sisters.
We do see more than one character have dreadlocks. There's the guy.
Oh yeah, he looks like a woman.
He looks. The haircut is awful, but they do give the dreadlocks to.
It's so awful. That haircut is so Zoomer. Yeah. I hate it.
Okay, so she wakes up after communicating with her sister in a dream. She's still uninjured, still not frozen. The Jedis leave, and this is when I was like, now they just don't give a crap because the Jedis arrive basically right after she wakes up. We've already mentioned it. It's like they do not give a stuff about the progression of time and distance of getting to one point to the other. Anything. It is all nonsense. They arrive basically just after she crashes, yet the prisoners are, it's like the incompetence is astounding here. Unbelievable. And then again, the Jedis arrive and someone says there's no... So they're searching the ship now. And one of the Jedis on the ship says there's no way she could have survived this. And I was like, yes! Of course! But then she survived without a scratch, Oz. Will they explain it? Will they explain that when she was unconscious, she used her force powers to levitate herself in the middle of the ship so she doesn't crash into any walls?
Explain how it's unexplainable? I don't think they will.
I don't think they're going to explain it at all. They're just going to move right on past it. Like, we acknowledged it. We said it. We had a Jedi say she couldn't have survived this. But that just makes me think, oh, I was already aware of it, but now you know of that she couldn't have survived this. Are you going to explain it? Questions like this have come up in Obi-Wan, Kenobi, and other shows and everything like that. And they never acknowledge plot holes like this. Let's just keep moving right on.
That would draw attention to it.
But they drew attention to it. Unbelievable. Okay. Remember how we said put a pin in something?
Ah, yes. The faith in the Jedi, yes.
She has faith in the Jedi. She sees the Jedi coming into land. Then she runs away. I thought she had faith in the Jedi.
Nope.
Remember how we said that there are times when this show actively contradicts itself in that one episode?
Well, they do it all...
Well, this is the second big one.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is that the Jedi don't pull out their lightsabers unless they're ready to kill. Just shortly after this scene, the dreadlock Jedi guy pulls out his lightsaber in the cave because he needs a bit of extra light. So that's contradicted. This is the next big contradiction. It's like, I trust the Jedi, and then the Jedi come... And by the way, I was like, hang on, how do you plan to get off this planet? Do you think you're going to find another like ship or something? This is a barren wasteland ice planet, right? And you see a ship coming in, which is, yes, your ticket off the planet, and she thinks, I better run away.
Who else is it going to be?
Exactly. How are you going to, again, abandoning logic for the sake of the plot because they just want it to be some type of suspense. Oh, she's running away. They're going to chase her down and anything like that.
For the sake of the plot, though, like...
I know.
What does it serve?
It serves basically nothing, but it's because they want a conflict when they finally reach us, like, you got to come with us, basically, and there's a bit of a conversation. They wanted that scene, and they'll only able to do it by her abandoning logic and thinking, oh, I'll find another way off this planet. I better run away from the only chance of survival I have. It's retarded.
It's beyond retarded.
So stupid. And again, it contradicts what... Because if... Not only is it a chance of survival, if she trusts the Jedi, it shouldn't be a problem. But no, she doesn't actually trust the Jedi. That was bullcrap. She ran away. And then the other Jedis have to chase her down. And that's when, again, the dreadlock Jedi guy pulls out his lightsaber. Who is he intending to kill? No one, because that line is nonsense. It shows that they do not understand... understand Star Wars, but they say, oh, it was a unreliable narration. That's what that character believes. That character would have to be retarded to think that a Jedi. No, I'm talking about the assassin Jedi, right? Oh. If she actually believed that Jedi will only take out the lightsaber when they're intending to kill, it's like, okay, so you've never seen the Jedi before. You're living in some type of bubble where you've had no interaction at all, or even talked to anyone about Jedi at all.
I feel like all of Star Wars could benefit from this tip I'm about to give it. Maybe give the Jedis a flashlight. Because think about it. Yeah, imagine if a cop needed some light, and to do that, the only thing he could do is point a gun in your face.
Yeah, he shoots the gun to get the muzzle flash to see where it's going.
I wouldn't put it past American cops, though, to be fair. But yeah, like there's so much room for misunderstandings there.
Yep. Okay, pulls out the lightsaber, and then they meet her. It's like, you gotta come in, and she's about to fall off the cliff. He stops her with the force.
That's so stupid.
Pulls her back up, and then they will take her in, and that's where it ends. That's the episode. And the first thing it sees as it closes, directed by Leslie Headland, is like, oh, wow, I would not want my name anywhere near a production like this. But she's clearly proud of it. This was her vision. She's the director, and it is an astounding piece of crap. And we are just one episode in. Holy crap.
And then, don't forget, there was the... you can't kill a Jedi with
steel sorry. Thank you. We cannot move past that because that is unbelievable. All right, so sorry, it doesn't close when they grab her and take her back through the cave. Well, then we get a final closing scene with the Acolyte lady. Yeah. She's walking on some craggy, rocky beach, and we hear a voiceover, and he says, like, the Jedi are living in a dream. And then he says this, and this was astounding. It's like, remember I said there are 3 big examples of them contradicting themselves in the episode. This is the biggest one, and it is shockingly dumb. And, like, I should stop being surprised at the stupidity that arrives in this show.
I'm surprised you're surprised.
I know, right? I shouldn't be surprised. Yet when this line came out, you heard, I laughed out loud. We watched this together, Oz and I laughed out loud like, what? It shocked me that they could drop a line like this, and how, like, did no one, like, quality control, check, proofread, anything, right? He says... If you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail. And when that was like, hey, hang on, what? She's coming back from having killed a Jedi with a weapon.
Yeah.
And then he says, steel or lasers are no threat to them. She just killed a Jedi with a knife. How can you say that? And then he says, but an acolyte kills without a weapon. And I was like, Not always. That's not the definition of an acolyte.
And it's literally not what happened in this case as well.
Exactly. And then he says, an acolyte kills the dream. And this is retarded nonsense. That's what the episode ends on. And then directed by Leslie Headland. And it's like, are you... All right, Oz.
Shad.
Oz. I am like... You don't need to be smart to see the contradictions and plot holes here.
Yes.
It's like, you have the opening scene, have an assassin kill a Jedi, not only with a weapon, but with a steel weapon, and at the ending lines, you cannot attack a Jedi with a weapon, you'll fail. It's like, have you watched your own show?
Let me ask you this, Shad. You're at McDonald's. And no matter how many times you complain, burger after burger, you open the thing up and there's a turd in there. No burger, no bun,
all right,
just a turd.
You might be winning me over.
When do you stop saying, is there no quality control here? And start realizing they're deliberately shitting into your box?
Maybe, I don't know. Like this is unbelievably stupid.
Exactly. It's unbelievable.
But if it was actually someone who had a mental disability that actually believed,
no,
that's where you go to the toilet. I was just being taught you go to the toilet in this box.
I'm
not doing anything malicious. That's just where they dump a turd.
Aragon was written by a 16-year-old boy. Okay? I have read things on the internet, fan fictions and whatnot, that have been better written than this. Like actual competent stuff. Like wish fulfillment stuff. Like,
it makes sense if they're mentally disabled.
No, it doesn't. No mentally disabled person is this mentally disabled.
It's astounding how stupid that episode ended. But that is it. That is the Acolyte. That's episode 1. We're in for a wild ride, because guess what, Oz?
There's more.
We have episode 2. We haven't even watched it. We're going to go watch it now and then come out with another review. So stay tuned to catch all our episodes. We're going episode by episode. It deserves this just being ripped apart because of the astounding piece of crap it is. So as always, stay around and stay on watch.